That's tough. Yo, what's up, YouTube? We got something to talk about. So apparently the patch got changed. The nerf for Fiora has changed. I just saw it now when we were when it's about to go through. It's about to go through. I just finished stream. I'm looking at it. We gotta talk about this because it's not the same thing we talked about before. So let's look at this. All right. So here's a 12-12 notes. Obviously, Fiora nerf, right? So I'm looking at it. Let's get down to Fiora. So they're not changing the base. They're changing the scaling. So from 3% and then plus 5.5 per 100 bonus AD, it's supposed to go to 2 and then stay 5.5, and now it's 3 and it's 4.5 targets maximum health. So I've got an account on a different region. Let's look at how this is going to change here. I want to go to the training tool and just look at some of like the core builds of Fiora and kind of like just play with some numbers for a little bit with you guys and just look at stuff. If anything, I feel like with the scaling runes being different, I think that we're gonna, or the scaling vitals being different, I think we're gonna be looking at scaling runes from now on. So I'm actually gonna put on scaling runes and we'll just, well, yeah, we'll put on scaling runes. We'll just play with it for a bit because this is kind of weird. I know that they were doing something on the PvE and it seemed like it might have been like an over nerf or something. And I know that they do that sometimes, so this is definitely a little bit weird. So we're gonna look at this and then see what the numbers will look like just with some main core builds and see how big of a difference this is gonna be, because no longer does this affect the early game. Now it more affects the just overall scaling, which can be pretty tough actually. So we'll have to see. This will be interesting. 3.7 to start. 3.7 to start. And then we'll just buy. We'll just buy through. So let's say we're only gonna let's just look at core builds, and then we'll just kind of play around with it and see. So Gore, Hydra, Def Stance, 13.9, 55.4, 13.9, 55.4, 13.6, 54.3.
One eternity later.
We've got the pre-patch numbers. Pre-patch numbers with Gore, Hydra, Def Stance, Gore Maul. I mean, these are, you can pause the video and look at these and you can see them. So this here, these are like the main core builds that you see when you're building Fiora. I actually want to throw in the just Mirror Mana in general. I'm actually going to look up, okay, this is like max AD, right? So Gore, Mirror Mana, Hydra. Now these are max as it gets when it comes to vital damage. So we'll look at these two because these might. I have a feeling that Mirror Mana might actually be like the saving grace here and be, you know, what we need to keep our damage going. So Stride, Mirror Mana, and Hydra. So we'll look at both. I don't think there's going to be much of a difference. I think that when it comes down to vital damage, they're about the same when it's fully stacked. So let's see. We'll go back to base. Average full build enjoyer. So let's see if I build this with Maul and Def Stance, 27, 82.9. This is a fucking high damage build as well. I mean, like, this is high damage. I mean, this is without scaling runes active. This without scaling runes active. We're just gonna get to the 30-minute mark because you're probably gonna be level 18 about that point, anyways. And if you're not 30 minutes, if you're not level 18 by 40 minutes, I mean, like, that's beyond me, brother. So this is 500 AD. No elixirs, no nothing. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, we're really looking at the numbers because it's only the numbers that are changing is what we're really looking at. So we'll get out of here, and then I'm going to try to sign into this other account. Let's see. And we're going to look at all those builds again. Jesus. Going Divine, Bork, and Def Stance is 9.6. Wow, that is a huge difference, actually.
1 million, zillion, jillion, dillion, cotillion times later.
This is what we're looking at now with the numbers for the changes. We went through and we did pre-patch numbers for vitals. These are just core builds because typically a game is going to end when you have your core build. There's not too often where you, like, core build is like you're getting there or not getting there, and we can base an opinion, or not an opinion, but guess, and basically make an educated guess on where these things are going to be if you have 1 item, 2 items, 3 items. So with the pre-patch, we're looking at Gore, Hydra Def Stance 13.9 for a single vital, and 55.4 for the full ulti. That's all 4 vitals. Same with Gore Hydra Maul. Gore Hydra Whole 13.6, 54.3. I'm not going to say all these out loud. You can read them as we go through, but these are all pre-patch numbers. Now this is, let's like max AD, and I think I was level 1 for these, so it should be a little bit higher with more mana, obviously. But should be a little bit higher than this, but 14.9, 59.8, Stride Mirror Mana Hydra 14.7, 58.7. Now this is the average full build enjoyer. So this was just like 6 items. 6 items was 20.7, or 5 items full build 20.7, and this is pre-patch 20.7. 82.9 for the full ulti, and then with Scaling Runes, I took it to 30 minutes with Gathering Storm and Absolute Focus at level 18. So it's plus 18 for the Absolute Focus, and then plus 28 for the Gathering Storm, which was at 23.5 and 94.1. That's no elixir, no anything like that. And now we look at post-patch. We're seeing I mean, 13.9 down to 11.7. I mean, it's like it doesn't look that bad, and then you look at the ulti and it's like 46.7, 55.4 down to 46.7. That's almost 10% down. It's pretty decent. It's a pretty decent chunk. And we see for like other things, same stuff here. So let me get that back up. And then Divine Bork Death Stance 38.6, but Bork does, percent health damage. So it's going to be a little bit more than this. This is just your specific vital damage. But down to a 9.6 for 3 items. Not even 10% for 3 items. It's pretty crazy. I mean, these are low AD items, right? Low AD items. These are the main 7 core builds that Fiora is built on. And then Stride Bork, Death Stance 10.1, 40.4. Stride Hydra, Death Stance 11.4, 45.8. So we're looking at a difference. Now, once again, this is level 1 without the Mirror Mana is stacked, but without the extra mana from leveling up. 14.9 going down to 12, 59.8 for the ulti going down to 48. And this is supposed to be, like max damage. Obviously, the higher level you are, it'll be a little bit different. But it's going down a decent chunk. And then you're looking at, so this is the main thing we're looking at. This is our full build, basically. Full build, we're looking at our vital damage going down from 20.7 to 18.7. And then our ulti damage going down from 82.9 to 74.7. With Scaling Runes, Gathering Storm, and Absolute Focus, which is plus 18 and then plus 28 for the 30 minutes, we're going from 23.5 to 20.2. And I mean, keep in mind, without the Scaling Runes, we had more than that with it. We had 20.7. So now we're below where we were without Scaling Runes. And then our ulti was 94.1 before, and now it's 80.8. Once again, lower than without Scaling Runes. So even with Scaling Runes, we don't even have as much damage as we used to have going like Resolve Secondary. This is pretty substantial. I think what we're going to see a lot of, I think if I'm just going to talk about it and just give you my opinion, what I really think we're going to need to focus on as Fiora players to get ahead, or to like do similar damage, is to literally get ahead early. I think running Ignite in lane, I think this kind of just puts Teleport to death here. There's no reason to run it. We have to get ahead early because we're not going to get the same vital damage as we used to get. This is actually more substantial than I thought it was originally going to be, from the base damage to the scaling. I don't think it's anything to be like extremely concerned about, but I think we really want to get ahead in the early game to give us a chance to snowball and get to that end game point, because no longer can you like feed lane win game, lose lane win game, because usually we could get those core builds and get these massive damage spikes and then just go off. Now it's a little bit different. Now it is, we're obviously from full build with Scaling Runes, we're missing out on about 14% of our ulti damage, which is kind of a big deal. So very interesting. I would say in conclusion with this, and in conclusion with the nerf, they changed it to scaling instead of base. So our level 1 through 3s aren't going to be affected in our early all-ins. I think Ignite's going to be very important. I think getting ahead early in lane and like getting help from jungler is going to be decently important as well. And just winning our lane in general, making sure to play more careful, more cautious, and not falling behind is going to be a very big deal. So that's the numbers we're looking at right now for the scaling nerf for 12-12. So that's where we're at. hopefully this video helps you out. Hey, I bet you won't get banned as much, but we're probably going from S plus tier down to like A tier. I don't know if we'll see Fiora fall below a 50% win rate or anything crazy by those means, but definitely a more substantial nerf than just the base damage. That's for sure. So these are the numbers. Scroll through them very slowly. Look at them. Yeah, I just had to make this video real quick and put this out for you guys so that we could talk about it. That's what the nerf is for 12-12. So that's with, it's kind of crazy, by the way. That's with 525. Well, that's with 525 AD. Even with 525, which is an increase of 401 bonus, 401 bonus, because I let the game sit. The game's at 43 minutes, so we're getting 40 AD from Gathering Storm and 18 from Absolute Focus. We're only getting 21.1%, 84.2 on the ulti. Man, I could go buy an elixir. 55, 555 AD, 22.4, and 89.6. Oh man, oof. This will be interesting. We're definitely not going to be as giga broken as we were before. That is for sure. Well, guys, that's the video. So 12-12 is coming. We're going to have to learn to adapt. I think that we're just going to have to learn to adapt, and we're just going to have to try to get ahead early in lane, and that's going to be what's going to happen for 12-12. Definitely play a little bit more cautious. I don't think limit testing is going to be the way to go. I think that we might be looking at scaling runes and Manamune to really save us here, to keep our core builds really high on AD. I think that's going to be the answer. I think maxing out AD is probably going to be the best bet, or going scaling runes. So I think you could probably still get away with going like Divine Bork, Def Stance, or Divine Bork, Hydra, and things like of that sort. But I think scaling runes are going to be more ideal than taking the Resolve tree. I think it's going to be more ideal to take scaling runes. I think the only time that you would want to take the resolve tree is if you feel really uncomfortable in the lane into like a ranged matchup or something like that. But if we're playing against tanks or melees or anything like that, I think Gathering Storm and Absolute Focus will be the way to go. And I think that's what I'm getting out of this nerf. We saw the numbers. The numbers are pretty insane. And that's where we're at right now. So that's the new 12-12 nerf. Just got thrown on us out of nowhere. We thought it was just the base, but it's the scaling. So time to adapt, time to figure it out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate it. And until next time, peace out and good luck out there.